Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau seems to have made a habit of irking India, and yes, he's done it again. On Monday, New Delhi summoned Canadian Deputy High Commissioner over the raising of separatist slogans on Khalistan at an event addressed by none other than the Canadian Prime Minister himself. The message from New Delhi was unmistakable. This is a thorny issue that adversely impacts bilateral ties between the two countries and encourages a climate of violence. In a statement issued by the Ministry of External Affairs, the government said, "The Government of India's deep concern and strong protest was conveyed at such disturbing actions being allowed to continue unchecked at the event. This illustrates once again the political space that has been given in Canada to separatism, extremism and violence. Their continued expressions not only impact India-Canada relations but also encourage a climate of violence and criminality in Canada to the detriment of its own citizens." So here's what happened. As Prime Minister Trudeau walked up to the stage for his address to mark Khalsa Day in Toronto, the chants of Khalistan Zindabad kept getting louder. It happened again when opposition leader Pierre Poilievre walked up to the stage to begin his address. New Democratic Party leader Jagmeet Singh and Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow were also present at the event. Now, thousands of people flocked to downtown Toronto on Sunday for one of the biggest yearly gatherings in the city. In his address, Trudeau, who has angered India with allegations that it was involved in the killing of a Sikh separatist Hardeep Singh Nijjar last year, also at this event vowed to protect the rights and freedoms of Sikhs in Canada and defend the community against hatred and discrimination. Now, the venue was decorated with numerous Khalistani pennants and signs that attacked the Indian government and officials. The Sikhs for Justice, which has been declared a terrorist group by India, announced at the event that it will hold the next phase of its so-called Khalistan referendum in Calgary on the 28th of July. Trudeau, who was accompanied by 4 cabinet ministers and 4 Liberal Party MPs, pledged that his government will always protect the rights and freedoms of the Sikh community in Canada. He said, "To the nearly 800,000 Canadians of Sikh heritage, we will always be there to protect your rights and freedoms, and we will always defend your community against hatred and discrimination." He said his government will also defend the rights of the Sikh community to practice its religion freely and without intimidation, as this is a fundamental right guaranteed in the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. And guess what? Sikhs for Justice leader Gurpatwant Pannun, who's also been declared a terrorist by India, described Trudeau's speech at this event as reassuring and said the referendum will be dedicated to Nijjar. India has rejected the Canadian government's allegations that it was behind the killing of Hardeep Singh Nijjar as absurd and motivated. India accuses Ottawa of harbouring Sikh separatists. Days after Trudeau's allegations, India asked Ottawa to downsize its diplomatic presence in the country to ensure parity. Subsequently, Canada withdrew 41 diplomats and their family members from India. India has been asserting that its core issue with Canada remained that of the space given to separatists, terrorists and anti-India elements in that country. Following Trudeau's allegations last year, India temporarily suspended issuance of visas to Canadian citizens. The visa services were resumed several weeks later. The question is, will Justice Trudeau ever stop needling India with his blatant support to Khalistani extremists and anti-India forces on Canadian soil, some of whom are actually part of his government? What he defends in the name of freedom of speech is nothing but cynical vote bank politics. Just how much does Trudeau depend on this constituency of separatists and extremists for his political survival? Just what explains the strong grip that this constituency seems to hold over Canadian politics and its politicians?
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Happy Vaisakhi, Joyeux Vaisakhi. I want to thank the Ontario Sikhs and Gurdwara Council for organizing this extraordinary event once again today. It is always so amazing to be back at the Khalsa Day celebrations. I'm happy to be here with Ministers Kara, Ananda Sangari and Valdez, along with our great MPs, Sonia, Shafkat, Ruby, Maninder, Judy and Paul. And it's great to see so many different mayors, leaders, other parliamentarians. This is truly an occasion that gathers us from across the city, from across the country to celebrate alongside you.